seems like we're live, so
Okay.
welcome to everyone. The ones are from here. So we're about to start this kind of talk with Baku. Baku is quite leading Zcash initiatives in terms of grants and opportunities. And Zcash
Okay.
is, it plays a big place in my heart, in a way, because Zcash was one of the earliest projects in terms of peer-to-peer networks between assets. So it's an OG project. I think that we need to figure out and see what are the opportunities that we have right now these days. How
Okay.
can we contribute? They have a grant program.
Yeah, I'm gonna
you
talk about
make incentives,
everything.
You could talk about that. So Paco,
Yeah.
welcome.
Okay. Testing,
And we should
testing.
start.
1, 2, 3. Everything's fine. Okay. So I'm Paku. I'm the Zcash uh, developer relations engineer for Zcash community grants, and and I'm basically going to talk about all-time high in collaboration because not everything is price go up, and price goes up because of reasons, and those reasons are because we build stuff that people use, and it proves that the use cases of the blockchain are real, and that fosters adoption and extends the ecosystem. And so what we're going to talk about is a guide to becoming a contributor to the Zcash ecosystem. A contributor, no matter whether you're a developer or do something else, there's a place for everyone in Zcash, and I hope you enjoy it. How much time do you have? Do we have like 1 hour? 2 hours. 2 hours? Okay, I'm from Argentina. I can talk indefinitely. Okay, so our agenda is going to be some introduction and background of the project. Then we're going to talk about the teams and what are they doing, so you know what's around, and maybe you can start thinking about where you could fit. Then we're going to talk about engaging with teams and how do you effectively um, put yourself in within the ecosystem. And then I have this section of I have an idea where to go next. So we're going to discuss um, what alternatives you have to actually um, um, do some idea or development or contribution that you want to make within the ecosystem. And then there was going to be room for discussion and open questions, but you can also like raise your hand and we can talk about anything. We have a lot of time. So um, this is the introduction section, and then there's a placeholder text that shouldn't be there. um, okay, so Bitcoin is Twitter for your bank account, right? Sorry if there are Bitcoin maxes here, but that's the truth. This was said a long time ago by Ian Myers, the author of the Zero Cash paper, which is the paper, one of the papers that um, like created the technology, the experimental technology for CK proofs and the protocol that you know today as Zcash. And he basically says that nobody actually tweets their balance in of their bank account online, and that it makes no sense that people are just using transparent ledgers and basically doing that. Um, and this was kind of around the era of where the ENS domains were popular. That there was a time where we used to put our first name and last name in social media. I don't know if you some people are younger than that, but that used to be the norm. Like you would put like your first name and last name in Facebook so people will recognize you. And that was a thing. And then for some reason, some people just thought it was a good idea for your Ethereum holdings. Um, and this tweet was around that time. Um, and Zcash is actually coming to fix that. Originally, Zcash was meant to be a pull request to add privacy with zero knowledge proofs to Bitcoin. Um, so Zcash devs around 2015 for the Bitcoin Core um, repository and said we're going to contribute this technology. There's going to be a protocol change that will include this thing called shielded pool that will allow sending Bitcoin into this pool and is going to become private. And then this was not an idea from the Zcash developers, but it was an actual idea from Satoshi Nakamoto, who said in the Bitcoin forums, "Oh yeah, there's this thing with Bitcoin which is not actually fully private, but there are these technologies called zero knowledge proofs that are not really mature yet that will solve this." And someone picked up this idea and said, "Oh, I'm gonna do this." Um, and so the Zcash project um, was born, and people developed that, and the Bitcoin core developers said, okay, this is awesome, but it's like this technology is too new, and maybe you launch your own blockchain and then we'll talk later. And that's what happened. So Zcash is what Satoshi originally envisioned. This is there's a typo here. Um, um, and this is what Josh Swihart, the CEO of Subtle, said, but without the typo there. Um, and I think there's narrative where Zcash is encrypted Bitcoin, and I don't know if you might have heard, and that's because there's part of Zcash that is called transparent Zec that actually is transparent Bitcoin from the 2015 era, and it works pretty much the same with the Bitcoin scripts and all, but with a cool thing that you can actually hop to the shielded pool and shielded funds. And the other principle is that there is no free economy without privacy. And that's, I think, this is an important thing to have in mind in terms of the ideas of the network state and an economy around cryptocurrency. Because imagine that you have a store, right, or you provide services to, I don't know, marketing services to your clients, and they pay you in crypto. So let's say that somebody actually, one competitor of yours, you're doing very well, and a competitor of yours says, okay, um, this guy is doing, or this girl is doing very well, and it's killing me. So I need to do something to get competitive and get more clients from his business. So he sends somebody to with some assignment, some business to have a contract with you, and you sign it off, and you get the job, and you get paid. When you're going to be paid, you hand them over a USDC or some or a Bitcoin or address for them to pay you, or it could be USDT on Ethereum or Solana, you name it. So you get paid, you don't suspect anything, everything is good. And then this competitor just runs, it actually asks an AI. You could ask a good AI to trace your funds and link this address they use for payment to know your holdings and what other customers paid you. And if you don't make a really good uh, use of like fresh accounts and have a really good tight sec op, like security operations use of your wallet, that's going to be super easy to know with a transparent ledger. And then all your pricing policies are leaked. Your competitor knows how much you charge for everything, and then they can use metadata elsewhere. For example, customers they know you have because you have them on your portfolio, and the dates that those websites or those marketing campaigns were launched, and then pair them up with payments, and then they figured out a very huge important part of your business strategy, which is your pricing. um, or worse, it could be one of your customers that actually knows that you're charging them more than other customers, and that you're not being favorable to them, because obviously some businesses have older customers and they give you premiums and bonuses, and other customers like are charged more. So privacy, you don't have a free economy without privacy, because uh, uh, you can see that if you can find all that out, that doesn't not, that's not a free economy. You can't have a price policy. You cannot have a competitive advantage because you don't have privacy. So Zcash is actually a vehicle for a real free economy, because it is actually digital cash. It is electronic cash. It has the same properties as cash, and it it actually allows you to have freedom in terms of how you use your money and how you let others know how you use your money. So Zcash is built on strong foundations. As I talked a little bit before, it is a fork of Bitcoin Core, and it has the Bitcoin UTXO model mixed with synchronized proofs. Um, it has a 21 million supply cap, and that with a mix of that super concept of like monetarism that meets privacy, and it's founded by real cypherpunk OGs. Many of the scientists and cypherpunks that founded Zcash were people that fought for encryption back in the 1990s. So yeah, there's some old people there, you know, um, that have like a history of like fighting for things. Like if they had lost that battle, they wouldn't be HTTPS at all. Um, and it also has future proof zero knowledge proofs, because Zcash not only invented like production scale zero knowledge proofs. Today, everyone says, "Oh, CK this, CK that, CK password, CK identity." I don't know, CK face rata. I don't know, whatever. Everything is CK today, right? And it's zero knowledge, but the real technology that spun up all that was Zcash. And then it's been continuously innovating since its launch, and its inception. Um, the development, I think, it started around 2016, but the launch was 2018. I think it was 2016, and there are 5 million of ZEC in the shielded pools, and there's a lot of ZEC that is actually transparent. And the what I mean for future proof secure proofs is that Zcash has a quantum resistant shielded protocol, and obviously to be fully quantum resistant, there are some other things that need to be done. But for example, the Orchard pool um, today can read like no if there's a quantum computer in 2029, as that Google paper says, it will be, they won't be able to break the privacy of an Orchard payment today. And what we're working on is to make quantum recoverability, which is the ability to um, do something now so you can recover your funds later, and that they are safe at rest, even if there's a evil quantum computer around. So that's pretty much about ZEC, the really quick introduction. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Nope. Okay. So who's developing Zcash and what are they doing? So there's a lot of things going on, and the first team I'm going to want to present is SecHub, um, which is a DAO. It's powered by the DAO protocol. Um, and I don't know the team size. There are a lot of people there. It's a really fluid organization. Um, there's people from Zcash Brazil there. There's people from all over the place, and it's um, basically a team that focuses on like creating content, creating learning material, participating in events like this event, or participating in other blockchain events like, I don't know, Penumbra events or Fira events, to do this like cross pollination of projects. And they have the Zcash wiki that has a lot of resources to learn about Zcash, and um, for developers and non-developers. And then they have a newsletter. They have the global ambassadors program. There's people around the world that want to open a Zcash chapter in their city, in their town, in their country. They fund them and help them out with resources to do that. And they are developing this. They have a bounty program, um, which is pretty nice because there are things to do there that don't necessarily require developer experience. Like, for example, um, create an article about Shield payments, or some how to off on or on ramp. There are a lot of bounties there, and you can earn ZEC by completing those, which is pretty good. And they are developing a new platform which uses the Zcash MetaMask snap, and it's more like a Web3 thing where you can actually engage with the web UI of the bounty program, and use your wallet to claim a bounty and get the payments and all that. They're developing that. That's quite new. It's pretty good, pretty nice, and is in testnet right now. So that's pretty nice, and pretty good people, and highly motivated. And I really recommend you to check them out. Then the one of the main teams is Zottle. I don't know if you have tested the Zottle wallet, formerly Sashi wallet. Um, if you don't know the wallet, you can download it from Google Play Store or Google App Store. I'm figuring out that I could have shared QR codes for that, but it was not really the topic of the talk. But it's easy to find. And the Zottle team was founded this year, but it's actually Electric Coin Company, which like the team left the original company and founded a new company this January. There are around 15 zebras. That's some way Zcashers call themselves. The and the if you know if you have heard of Josh Swihart, I mentioned, is the CEO, and the projects they are managing is the Subtle Wallet, formerly Sashi, Zcash D, which is the full node of Zcash. Yeah, and they yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I don't know if that is that online um to rewatch. We recorded, but we didn't. Oh, okay. But we are going to. Oh, awesome. So you can learn more about their team there firsthand. They have Zale, which is the new full node wallet that we are developing at Zcash. They have Libra Zcash, which is a Rust library for Zcash. The Orchard payment protocols, and Lightwell D, which is a light node. Then the Zcash Foundation, it's it's the typical cryptocurrency foundation that its mission is to foster the Zcash protocol, maintain public goods as public infrastructure, and they have they are maintainers of the Zebra node, which is Zcash has two full node implementations: the good old Bitcoin Core fork, um, which is called Zcash D, and the new Zebra node, which is a full node implementation of the Zcash protocol, all in Rust, and is a modern and memory safe implementation. Um, then they have Frost. Frost is a multi-signature um, tool or protocol that lets you use threshold signatures. That those kind of like wallets that need 2 out of 3 people to sign in order to authorize a transaction. The novelty of Frost is that every like typically like multi-sigs or K of n kind of wallets are easily identifiable on chain. You can check the data and figure out that that transaction was signed by a multi-sig or threshold sig wallet. And Frost has this particularity that all signatures look the same as regular transactions, so you don't know actually if 1,000 people signed for that transaction to authorize it, or if it's just a random dude anywhere. And that's how Frost is really popular. Um, and then there's the Shielded Aid initiative that the Zcash Foundation is also running as a nonprofit, which they are in touch with like Red Cross and those kind of NGOs to bring aid using crypto to places that are in war or in humanitarian crisis. This is a fairly new program. It has less than a year, and I think there's a presentation online about it. It was pretty important, pretty interesting, considering that there are many cases where there's aid coming into these places that are refugee camps or war zones and that, and those funds get either confiscated or frozen by the banking system. And the Zcash Foundation is putting this program to actually use Zcash to not only get the funds and the resources there, but to protect the privacy of those who need it the most, right? Um, then Shielded Labs. Shielded Labs is a company that runs on donations from the Zcash coin holders, and the leaders are Jason McGee and Zuko. Zuko is one of the original founders of Zcash, and they are currently working in um, two things that are pretty interesting. The first one is the network sustainability mechanism, which is something that solves a problem, a security budget problem that Nakamoto consensus have. Does anyone know what happens when all the 21 million bitcoins are coined? Like, what happens to the next block? How does it look like? Well, basically, what the Bitcoin protocol says is that once you have all the supply out, then there's not going to be any more Coinbase transactions. The Coinbase transaction is the one that has the miner reward. You know, when you mine the Bitcoin, you solve the cryptographical puzzle, and then the product you're able to coin a portion of Bitcoin. That supply is lowering with time until it becomes zero. When it becomes zero, it means that all 21 million pieces of Bitcoin have been created, and there will be no more. That's why it's a deflationary protocol. The thing is, then what is the incentive for miners to keep the network secure if there is no more mining reward. When you do you know, does anyone is familiar with what happens when you mine a block in a proof of work chain like Bitcoin? It's basically pretty simple. You get the Coinbase, which is the ability to create new monetary emission, and you obviously are the owner and you can transfer it to your wallet, and then you get all the transaction fees. But the thing is, what if transaction fees don't cover the expenses of uh, the mining cost, the cost of the miners? Well, nobody actually knows what it could happen then. And that's a security budget risk because miners are the ones securing the proof of work network. And the if there's no enough diversity on mining pools, then if some miner has a prominent position and the ability to mine more blocks, like more than 51% of the hash power of the network, then that miner or mining pool has the ability to start imposing blocks to the others, and then the credibility and security of the blockchain is at risk. So Shield Labs what is proposing, and that there has to be a network sustainability mechanism to anticipate this, in which is being able to burn part of the emission, the monetary emission today, to be emitted later once the supply cap and the emission algorithm has dictated that it's time to emit zero Zcash or zero Bitcoin, so that there is, besides fees, there's something, there is a reserve of funds that is still inside of the 21 million cap that actually provides incentives for miners to keep the network secure. And that's a network sustainability mechanism that has a name that is harder to pronounce, that actually the implementation is pretty straightforward. And then the cross-link trading finality layer is the other project that they are working on, which is actually creating a hybrid proof of work, proof of stake protocol to have a quick finality layer for Zcash. And so there will be, if Crosslink is currently undergoing a FeatureNet program that is incentivized, that you can check the Sheila Labs website, and I think they have published the workshop that was yesterday, and you can actually run a Crosslink node on testnet and earn testnet money that is going to become real money. So that's a way you can actually run a node on the new feature testnet that is testing this hybrid proof of stake, proof of work consensus algorithm for Zcash, and earn some ZEC. So I'll definitely check it out. And it's pretty simple to, it doesn't require too much of knowledge, because it's actually just open a binary and it has a UI where you can see and stake your ZEC and all. So I completely encourage you folks to take a look at it. Then Zingo Labs is the other team that is pretty cool. It's based everywhere. It's a really flat kind of unstructured company. They don't call themselves a company. They call themselves Zingo Viridians, which is a group of people that run the company or the structure. They're currently developing the Xanor indexer that is a server that will index the whole blockchain and provide services for full node wallets and block explorers. And they also have the Zingoliv um, wallet. I don't know if you have you ever heard of a Zingo wallet. Um, they have Zingo Mobile, Zingo PC, the Zexcavator, which is a cool tool to like if you have a very old Zcash wallet like Zec wallet that doesn't work anymore, you can actually use the Zexcavator to recover any Zec that got stuck there. And they're also developing the proof of work wallet along with Shielded Labs. Um, and then one of the most interesting projects that are happening right now is Tachyon. Has anyone heard of it? Of Tachyon? Tachyon is a new project that will make Zcash scalable. Currently, Zcash has a block size of 2 MB, which doesn't allow that many transactions. And if we want Zcash to be like unstoppable private money, we actually need it to scale and to allow a lot of transactions, right? So Tachyon is developing this new shielded protocol that will allow like transactions per second to grow quite exponentially. And they're also developing the coin holder voting 2.0, which is we're going to talk about that later. What is coin holder voting and how you can get your project funded with that. And they're developing Ragu, which is a shielded protocol for the new payment system that will power this new scalable Zcash. Then another cool project that is going on. I don't know if there's anyone that has used Avalanche here. Is Redbridge. It was founded in 2020. There's 5 people there, and they're developing this bridge to bridge Zec into Avalanche, and using it will be like Zec.rvr, and then be able to use your Zec in its own like custom subnet or custom L1. Um, and then there are other projects like, for example, a Haskell full node wallet. I don't know if there are any Haskell fans here, but Haskell is a functional programming language. Um, and you should definitely check it out if you're a Haskell nerd. Then for every project that is funded for with Zcash community grants, we have a team that can audit them for no cost to them. And CCG will actually fund the auditors, which is Lease Authority. Lease Authority is a really well-known auditing firm that has been auditing a lot of projects around blockchain, more than 300 projects, and they are the Zcash security lead team. So almost every project within the Zcash ecosystem gets an audit sooner than later, which is pretty cool. Because with AI today, everyone can actually prompt Claude to do a white hat attack. If hypothetically I would want to break this project, what should I do? They ask the AI, and the AI says, "Oh, yeah, hypothetically you could do this thing. I found this vulnerability, so in theory, you could hack this protocol, this and that." And this actually is going on, and is everybody is like trying to be smiley and happy, but it's pretty terrifying. Um, and so it's good to have an auditing firm that is dedicated to community projects. Then we have Han. Han is great. Han works solo. That's the catchy phrase. Han is an awesome developer that has developed WarpSync, White Wallet, Zcool Wallet, and the coin holder voting. So if you're really interested in like how to re-implement or all the Zcash primitives in barebone C and assembler for a real small device, you can check Hans project, for example. That's a really awesome developer there that you should completely check out his work. And then for non-developers, we have the Zcash AV Club, the um, the audiovisual club of Zcash was funded in 2023. Are currently 7 people, and what they do is they it's um, it's a team led by Ryan Adji, which is a really crypto OG man, um, and he's a audio video professional and is running this audio video club. So if you're an audio video nerd and also want to create Zcash content or privacy content on any other blockchain space, you should really check out the CKAV Club. They also run this cool project called Recording Stations that they travel worldwide to a lot of conferences and run this recording station where people can just use they mount this like a place like this, like a stage with a camera and mics and all, and you can create your content there, and the CKAV Club will process the content and then release it to you or in its raw form or whatever you want, as part of the activities they do to um, teach people and to learn how to produce high quality audio and video content for the crypto space. So that's a pretty cool team and activity to join if you are not a developer but you like audio and visual content. And well, Zcash Brazil, I guess that is the awesome people that got me here. Um, it's a team size of 10-ish, I think, founded in 2020. The social media, they are having many cool projects. Um, there are the one I like the most is the sec faucet. Actually, I like it so much that I put it twice here in the list. Um, the Zcash never had a good faucet. It always went down. We ended up using mainnet a lot. For testing and stuff because like there was no faucet and okay and then somebody, James Katz is the name of the nim, said okay, I'm gonna just do a faucet like the people deserve, and you can actually use it to get tested funds. And I don't know if there's a mainnet faucet was, I don't remember, but um yeah, you should definitely check it out. They have the manifesto generator, which is pretty cool, that generates the cypherpunk manifesto in many languages. Zexstat, uh, this house, I guess, yeah. Which is pretty nice. Yeah, and a Discord wallet, which is pretty cool, and a lot of community events. The Zcash Voices, is that how you pronounce it? It's voices, but in Portuguese. Yeah, I guess voices. Okay, no, because it's in Portuguese, but I don't know how to write any Portuguese. Yeah, sorry about that. I every time I come to Brazil, I promise I'm gonna learn Portuguese, but I never managed to. But sometime I promise I will. Um, and then Zcash Community Grants, which was founded in 2020. It is a team size of 5 elected committee members. There are elections every 6 months that the committee gets renewed partially. And then we have some staff people like myself and my colleague Riggs, who's the DeFi specialist. I'm old school blockchain person, and I don't know a lot about trading and stuff. I'm pretty suck at DeFi, to be honest. Yeah. So We have a DeFi specialist. Like I know about the tech, but I'm really trading is not my thing. I'm just a nerd. Um, and but you should definitely check the site, and we're gonna talk about a little bit more about this later. But in their website, you're gonna find information on how to apply to the Zcash community grants, and they funded a lot of they fund a lot of projects. The breadth of the projects that there are, the topics are pretty immense. There are like from infrastructure to like bridges and like Maya, RedBridge, or the NIM SDK. Um, if you don't know what NIM is a mixnet. Um, it's like a VPN that mixes up your traffic with other packets, so you can't be pinpointed by evil observers of network traffic. And their SDK was partially funded by Zcash community grants. Um, and yeah, Zcash Brazil, for example, they have a grant from Zcash community grants, and Zcash Espanol, and well, many more. Um, then the FPF, which is the Financial Privacy Foundation, they are the administrators of the Zcash community grants program, like the administrative office. And they usually have a grants program, but it's not open all year long. Zcash community grants is open 24/7. So it's really rare. And then last but not least is ZecDev. ZecDev is a humble website I have to publish some like really humble blog and things to learn, resources to learn um, how to develop Zcash. And contributions are always welcome, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But currently, I am working on coordination of the Zcash deprecation. So we um, move on to all the infrastructure to the new node. Some payment UI libraries and some Frost FFIs and community activities like the Litecoin working group, and I maintain a community billboard that is basically I I track a list of wish list of things that Zcashers would like to have. So you can check the community billboard to see if any of those ideas resound with you, and you can like develop them and maybe ask for fundings. So now you know that you know everyone in the Zcash ecosystem. How do you engage with privacy nerds? um, so, and then, yeah, this slide also has a placeholder text there. Sorry about that. Um, so basically, there's um, it's the hardest part of getting inside a Zcash community or any community in crypto is to just walk in. It's basically you're walking into a room full of strangers, and then you don't know who is real, who is a shady person, or who to talk to when you have a doubt, or what to do. So the core idea of this talk is to maybe share some advices that I collected from people that actually joined the ecosystem and was able to contribute and be part of effectively and be an important part of the ecosystem. And I reflected a lot of what how they did it and how they blended in. And I wanted to share that with you folks. So um, you can also join the ecosystem and maybe not be frustrated by everything that goes on and be lost. Because one thing that we need in Zcash is we need like a lot of people. Like if you look at the Ethereum community, it's huge, and I think that Zcash needs to um, have 10 or 100 more times a developer and community builders count. So everyone's welcome, and we want to make everyone comfortable. And so here are some advices on how to do that. So when in Rome, do as Romans do. I think this is attributed to the Don Quixote de la Mancha, but it's not. I don't. I think that that's the research I did. Um, but probably there are more attributions of that phrase. But it's basically when you walk to a place, just what see around and like try to do what others do. Um, this is a brief Z etiquette that I put together because Zcash is the friendliest crypto community ever. Um, but so let's try to make the Zcash that we want to see in the world. So one thing I've noticed sometimes is that people forget to keep it human. Um, and that means like introducing yourself, um, reading the code of conduct, and in the repositories and in the forums, read the contributing guidelines. So when you want to contribute something, it's in the shape that the maintainers of that project expect, and in that way, like the maintainers will notice that you're like making the effort, um, and will really appreciate it. Um, the other thing is respect. Like, fortunately, like the Zcash community is really friendly. Obviously, there's drama a bit, like every community. You know, there's discussions, there's everything, like any human community. But just treat others as you would like to be treated, and also like be constructive. Something that people is not used to is that in Zcash, like everyone is really friendly, but there is a lot of disagreement. A lot of disagreement. But everyone is like super chill about it. It's like, okay, I don't agree, or maybe yeah, you convinced me about it, um, and just be constructive. And also, the Zcash is global, and Zcashes are all over the world. And the zebra you want to talk to might be farther away than it seems. So that means that yeah, the person that you want to talk to, might be in the opposite side of the world, and the response could take a bit. And I asked the core developers to give me advices on like um, and recommendations for newcomers. And the first one they gave me was like, it is pretty obvious, but it's not. Like, just use Zcash. Just if you want to contribute to Zcash, just go ahead and use it. Use it for whatever you want, and then you will see that there are friction points and things that maybe don't work as you expect. And just start by there, saying, "Hey, um, I'm I'm new. I was using Zcash to do this, and I noticed that I expected that it would work like this, and that didn't go well, or it was too difficult to use. And I hope it will work this other way." And then you can like start a conversation and maybe write the description of the problem, and that's your new project. Um, so, and open GitHub issues in the wallets you use, to report the problems you find, or to suggest features that you would like to see. Um, and like obviously open new one if you don't find an existing one. Um, all the contributions are welcome, but in the age of AI, um, I want to emphasize the keep it human point of the last slide. Is that today the cost of producing code is like negligible. Like nobody uh, nobody will be congratulated to code something, because now you can do a lot of it with AI. AI has evolved quite quickly, and it's going to continue evolving. And that's awesome, because people that know how to describe their problems will be able to translate that into technical solutions that are really technically good. That's great. But the code you do with an AI, it will be reviewed by a human. So don't just throw away, don't go there and just like throw a bunch of code that the AI did for you. Even if it's perfectly coded, somebody will have to review it, and a human will be spending hours uh, to verify that the what you're contributing is in a good shape. So always read the contributing MD and the agent's MD carefully, and obviously don't be afraid to ask questions. Always, if in doubt, ask questions, and always like look around and familiarize with the project you want to contribute to. There will always be good first issues and help wanted items in the repositories, or you can just go to Discord and ask people, hey, I'm interested in this project, is anyone from there here? um, how can I start helping out? And that will get you pretty far. um, then when you have work in progress, if you get stuck, go to the community platforms I'm going to show you next and ask for help. um, and don't delay it. Like sometimes when you're working on something and you are stuck, the fact that you're explaining that to somebody will reveal the answer. That's called rubber ducking, and it really works. Sometimes when I'm working on something that I know how to solve and AI didn't exist, I will just write a fake email. Like I write an email to somebody, and I would put no address at all. Just write the subject and write the email. And the moment I was describing the problem, many solutions that I hadn't tried emerged. And then, like if I tried those and they didn't work, then I will just update the email and then put the address of the people I should ask and send the email. But 90% of the times, I wouldn't actually need the email. And then what happens when you have contributed something and you have sent that contribution to the maintainers of the project? Well, first of all, review it with someone else's eyes. Like if by just read the contributing MD documentation of the repository and then look at your own work as you were another person. You can also use an agent to review the work. This says, hey, can you review this PR as if you were a Zcash maintainer? And it probably will do a good job. Um, and then your pull request will be timely, kindly, and thoroughly reviewed by the maintainers. But don't ping them, hey, review this code. That's annoying. I know that there are maybe in Latin America we're not like that, but I came to have this talk with other contributors from other cultures, where they thought that like pinging people will help to get their PRs reviewed quickly. Well, it didn't. Um, so now that you have contributed, um, well, when you contribute to the project, sometimes you get everything right at once, and sometimes you will say, hey, thank you for the contribution, yes, I can you make these changes. So be sure that you follow through. I know that sometimes when you start contributing to a project, you're not working full time on it and you have a lot of things to do, and you do it on the free time in your free time. So that's okay, but be always sure to follow it through when you receive feedback. So you're because that's you receive feedback because like maintainers are interested in your contribution. So apply that feedback, and so you PR get your contribution or your pull request gets merged. So, um, any questions so far? So, how do you communicate with Zcashers? Well, you have the classic internet forums. For those who are old school, is the typical forum platform is moderated, read the code of contact, don't swear kind of thing. Uh, is good for long run discussions and lore. And yeah, look back. Uh, and then you have Discord. We have many, I think there are like three Discords. But the two main ones are the global Discord. This is the community Discord where, for example, Zcash Brazil, they have a section there. Um, it is cross community worldwide. The community events are hosted there every week. There's a Zcash Lounge event. I think it goes Fridays, and it's where the memes and the good internet stuff lives. And then you have the Nerd Corner, which is the Zcash R&D Discord, which is this stands for research and development, and it's where the developers hang out. So the channels are more oriented for topics and technical discussions, but anything that you need to know or anything that you want to report about something not working, um, probably that's the best place to go. It is more quiet, chill, not so many memes and rules. More a place of for nerding out. And then we have community calls. If you don't have enough calls in your life, you can just attend one more. Um, and is the protocol the Arbors call is the it's called Arbors because the until we pick numbers, Zcash network upgrades had names, and they were named under botanic terms like sprout, sapling, heartwood, blossom, orchard. Orchard is a shielded protocol, not an upgrade, but and then we were like standardized for NU5, which is far more boring than the names, but it's easier to remember. NU6, NU6.1, and the future NU7. But to find out what this is about, you can actually join the webinar. It's every other Thursday. Today is there's gonna be one at 6 p.m. This time, which is 21 UTC. And it's usually every other Thursday. And every time I say this, I say the wrong day. I don't know why. But it's every other Thursday. One time is at 15 UTC, and the other time is at 21 UTC. For Brazil, it would be 12 at like noon and 6 p.m. Like today is going to be 6 p.m. and then in 2 weeks it's going to be noon. You can join the events here, and if you want to present your team or you can actually request a slot to present something, and you can just message the organizers in advance to do that. So far, no one has actually requested a slot to present at the Outbreak Hall. I don't know if because it is intimidating or what, but if you want to be the first one in something, maybe give it a try. Then we have the Litecoin working group. This is a small group that is focused on development of Litecoins. Litecoins are like mobile wallets, desktop wallets that don't run and don't have a copy of the full blockchain. So if you're interested in this kind of technology, the Litecoin working group is the one steering the Litecoin protocol of Zcash. Is currently should have been right now, like it should have ended, but since I'm the moderator and I was here, I just called it off. It goes every other Thursday at 17 UTC, 2 p.m. Brazil. And then this is the coolest thing ever: is the office hours. The Zcash office hours are organized by Mark Henderson at Shielded Labs. It's every other Tuesday, and you should check the Luma event. And every time there's a new thing, they're having a handful of these, five or six. Like a five will be a handful, and a six will be a hand made out by AI with six fingers. Um, and the next one is the super nerd. They're going to just like read through the protocol. That's going to be super scary and nerdy. But then there are others, like the last one was explain the Zcash names project. Um, and the one before was about like memo bundles, and there are a lot of cool topics there where Mark will interview someone making something cool with Zcash. So maybe tomorrow it could be one of your projects. Why not? So I have an idea where to go next. I think that that's the meaty, greedy part. So this is in this slide, I did actually put a caption there. So I congratulate myself. So it's a short community guideline on how to effectively engage with Zcash billers, which actually not the right caption. So as you see, making presentations is not my talent. So taking your idea to completion. So these are some rule of thumbs. So how to contribute to Zcash, and dream big. That's awesome, but start small, because Rome wasn't built in a day. I don't know why I'm just bringing up these old Rome themed analogies, but yeah, they're good. Uh, Start with manageable pieces of work. Something that happens um, um, to me is that I hop on calls with new folks wanting to contribute or present a grant, and they have these cool ideas, but the ideas are too big, right? And they have like a single person team. So um, what I always tell them is, yes, this is great, or yeah, maybe you can tweak these, or maybe you can steer this project a little bit to this side. This is something that the team needed, but always like start with small things, because if you're new, like it's possible that if you just say, hello, I'm building the pyramid of Egypt, like, so everybody will tell you, who's this crazy guy coming here and saying this. But if you just say, hey, I want to just do like this small library, I think it would be convenient, and then maybe take it somewhere else and say, hey, yeah, that's cool, do it, I will help it out. It really will help you to be more focused and not swamped in the big scope of your big idea, but it will make it more attractive and feasible to others, even people reviewing grants. Then always test and iterate. So you won't get everything right at the first time. That's fine. So allow your idea to become more mature, and maybe use prototypes, use AI in your favor to test your ideas fast and see what works and what doesn't, and iterate. Don't give up. And then something really important that nobody tells you: privacy is a human right, but it's also normal, yes, but it's hard. Uh, and things get complicated when you need to preserve privacy. Why? Because, for example, you don't have a node with all the public information that you can just write a small query and it will give you all the information and you can use it. You have to sync the blockchain with your keys, and there are a lot of nuances that you need to do to preserve privacy, because privacy is like the paste inside the toothpaste thing. Once you squish the toothpaste thingy, the toothpaste goes out and you cannot put it back. So once you leak something, it can never be unleaked. So that's the hard thing of privacy. You screw up once and you screwed up forever with it. Um, and so expect things to be harder than they seem, and that's fine. Nobody's going to mock you or anything. Like, we're all wanting to preserve privacy, yes, and we're all a bit, suffering it as well because it's hard. So it's fine. You're not alone, um, and it's worth it. So I have my great idea, but I think I need funds to complete my project. That's the interesting part. Zcash is a project that is fun. have like a better chance to actually uh, fulfill that idea, because take it further. So is the forms and thing that is, and the conversation go, and you can use that. Always ask for help to assess the dependencies of your project. Your project will actually either like use some infrastructure that, or some tools that are maintained by other teams. So it's really good to actually use talk to those teams and know first whether um, the you need work to be done on that project, and if that work can be prioritized by those maintainers, or they could tell you, oh well, this tool was not really intended to be used this way, but it could work if you did do this other thing. So gather all that information from your dependencies so you can build your project proposal better and stronger, and also see how it fits the priorities of the ecosystem, because it's a really important part of getting projects funded. Because one thing is that your project could be interesting, but is not what the ecosystem is funding at. Also, be humble. Like a grant won't make you a millionaire. So be frugal and show that you value the Zcash holders' resources. One thing that happens with a lot of grants that are good ideas is that they are expensive, load in their grants, and they are overpriced. And that alone conspires against the all the work that takes to actually make a good grant proposal. Um, because how Zcash is funded by the um, first by the protocol. So there is, when Zcash one ZEC is mined by a miner, um, then 80% of that ZEC goes to the miner, but there's a 20% that goes to the protocol funding. And one part of that 20% goes to Zcash community grants, and the other part goes to something called Box. And so the grant projects, either they're whichever they are, it's actually money coming from the protocols. It's sort of part of the Zcash hold. If you have Zcash, like part of the Zcash holders actually enters kind of paid for development funds to be there. So it's important to be humble and price your grants accordingly and not bloat them in getting funds. Um, so, what are the funding mechanisms that we have at Zcash in particular? First, the Zcash community grants. The Zcash community grants is a grant program that is currently open 24/7. anytime you have an idea, you can go through the process of creating the idea and uh, filling in the are like they open like every quarter or every, I don't know, every other weeks, and or I don't know. And this is like 24/7 open, and it's usually a quick turnaround. So in average, the process is like this: you present your grant. Days like it could be earlier because it depends on the day of the week that you presented and the day of the week that the committee meets. Um, and the committee is spread out across the world, so they meet at specific times. But at most, like it will have a first review in within 7 days. Then a requirement for a Zcash community grant application is that it's posted in the Zcash community forums. So Zcash community folks and forum users can comment and ask questions to the applicants. So another part you need to do when you present the Zcash community grant application is to be responsive in the forums so that you you respond to any questions that are brought up there. The community feedback will be used to assess your grant, but it's not going to be the only input. We know that forums sometimes are not the most positive platform, and maybe someone that didn't have a great day um, didn't leave like great comments on your application, and you don't have to be afraid of that. Like there's moderation, so there are rules on how to engage on those topics, so don't be afraid. It's not that people are going to troll your thread of your grant, um, but it's not the only input that it is used to evaluate your grant. There are other things like the committee members, they all have their expertise and they will have their insight, and there also will be um, like asking people from like core developers, or they may ask me something, or Riggs or somebody else um, to to give them opinions about the grant some grant, um, and that's going to be decided. But don't be afraid that it's not that if you get if people, I don't know, your idea is controversial, and we know that all good ideas are a little bit controversial. Um, and if your forum thread is kind of heated, don't worry about it. It's not the only input that the committee will use. And so after that, then usually there's a 1 or 2 week period of like feedback uh, requests from the community, and after that, the committee will meet again, and they will either approve, reject, or maybe ask modifications of your grant. And it's really a imagine that it could be from 2 to 3 weeks. Um, sometimes to catch this. So there's a quarterly program where people that have developed something and brought it to production can retroactively ask for funding for that project. They all obviously have to make their case of why their project was useful, but could be the case, or it is the case that, for example, there are people that are already developing something and they apply their current product for Zcash, and then they can actually um, say, hey, we deploy this thing. It was very well received. It has, it has this potential. It brought these benefits, and we're asking, I don't know, some retroactive retribution for it. And then point holders vote on each of the projects for funding, for the fund request to be approved or not. Um, so it's the CCAS.
Suggestions?
Yeah.
Who wants to contribute?
How aligned is the community on the question of the block size? Is it going to be another block size war similar to Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash?
No, I don't think there's gonna be. There are discussions though in terms of reducing the block time, because long block times, like Zcash doesn't have a really long block time like Bitcoin does. Like Bitcoin is 20 minutes and Zcash is 72 seconds. But having long block times give quantum computer adversaries an opportunity to perform something that is called the unspent attack, which is like the moment you, like, maybe your funds at rest are quantum safe, but then like the moment you reveal your signature because you have authorized a payment, then the quantum computer may have information to try to like reverse your hash, your signature. So reducing the block time, I'm talking like 20, like 2029, 2030, 31, where the Google paper that was out last week or the other week theorized about the possibility of having quantum relevant, like cryptographically relevant quantum computers that can break some cryptography. So that's being discussed, but also since there is a project to scale Zcash in a different way than the using recursive proofs, um, then the block size is not really a relevant discussion anymore. So I don't think there's going to be a block size war, because Zcash has other technical means to achieve scalability other than like having bigger blocks.
For privacy applications that require smart contracts, is there in the ecosystem any preference on Ethereum, Solidity, or Rust, or Solana, or even into developing a specialized solution for that?
Well, currently, Zcash doesn't have any support for smart contracts. So there is no preference, to say it in a way. There is an investigation project made by Inverse Tech, which is Daniel Benarok, who was paid by the Zcash Foundation to research the feasibility of smart contracts in Zcash, it was actually a positive result, but there's nothing in the roadmap to actually deploy smart contract capabilities within our ecosystem.
So if you are developing something, there's no preference on what
No.
technology you choose or not.
No. It's really going to be more convenient that you use Rust because all of the cryptographical primitives are developed in Rust. So you're going to have the better tooling there.
About the community, like I noticed there is a very positive community and people are very nice. And this was organic, or you have like some efforts to bring people, some kind of culture to contain.
Actually, it was really funny because like most of the fights, like the drama was like in the leadership some years ago, and the community was also like it was like the kids telling the parents not to fight. So the community has always been like super friendly. Um, there have been times where the the price was really low and the ecosystem was under really stress, and where things were really tough. But one thing is the forums, and the real life is pretty different. Um, and I think that people that were maybe really harsh in the forums were mostly because they were probably frustrated on how things were going. And I think they were right. There were times where we the developers um, did not do as well as the users deserved, and they were right to be frustrated. But then we worked a lot to solve the issues that the ecosystem was having, and the many things that the users were saying were right, and the rebirth of Zcash actually is actually implementing UX and things that the users of Zcash in the forums actually said that needed to be done. So like everybody is saying is a little bit vindicated. Everybody has a little piece of I said it. This was the thing that was needed to be done, and then that frustration and maybe those feelings washed away, and that's why you see everybody like being friendly. Uh, but it was never like a troll, something full of trolls or like that. That's something really nice about the community. It wasn't always like that because there were times that were tough, but I know I don't know. I don't think we did anything else than hearing the people and moving our asses when things were tough and we needed to do a lot of work to make things right.
More into that, of course, definitely the community changed a lot, like with price action, like recently, but what fundamentally changed for that price action, like your insider view, like what happened? Like it was incredible, of course.
I think that
the background, but it's
something I come from mobile. I've been developing in mobile. It's not my main thing right now. But I still like work in the technology. But I worked in mobile since phones were not smart at all. Like porting video games and then doing apps and working in the end user phase of like or like the most user facing part of the application, which is like the part between the finger and the screen. And one thing that the problem with blockchain, I think, is that it's made by really highly technical people, and they're really proud about what they did, which is blockchain stuff is really difficult to do. Like decentralization is difficult as privacy is, and the the part to make things usable, and the most important part to make something usable is that users don't have to care about the technicalities. And that means that you have to, as a very intelligent person, let go your pride and realize that if users have to care about the protocol, the shielded pools, and the nuances, and how cool ZK everything is, you're doing things wrong. People don't care. So if users have to care about technicalities, you're doing your job wrong as an end user developer. And I think the moment things aligned, and there was a lot of work that was being built throughout the years that finally came through all together, that where Zcash had good usability and you could actually do something with it. I think that actually opened the doors for this like price pump, because there was not much to do around with Zec other than send shielded memos to a friend before there was a good wallet that integrated a payment solution that actually worked fast. Near intents, I don't know the story about near intents. I'm not like I don't know where they came from, or I just woke up one day and said, oh, we have like near intents support Zcash, and I checked it out, and then like there was this integration with the Sashi wallet, and I think that there was a lot of, it was like a dam that cracked open, and then everything started flowing. Because really there was not much to do with Zcash, and now you could actually do something meaningful with it. I use Zcash a lot because like my income is in Zec, so I knew that for me, like to actually pay rent, and it was like 2 or 3 hours that I had to sit down in shady exchanges that to see if they would give me a horrible quote, and I will send the money there and then be sweating, cold sweat, because the UI didn't update and I don't know if I had lost the money, and then send it to the bank and whatever. Like the onboarding was horrible. It was barely usable, and then when now it takes me a second to do that. I can pay anyone. Like if a place just like takes USDT on whatever network, I don't care. I just like go use a near intent. I said, yeah, withdraw to, I don't know, USDT in this new chain nobody knows about. Okay, good. Click, it works. In 5 seconds, you have that, I don't know, 70 seconds for the ZEC part, and then a few seconds for the other chain, and boom, you have your payment and you have retained your privacy. And it's fantastic. And that's how I guess it should have been always. And that's why the market was not pricing Zcash right, because it was not really useful until then.
Any other question?
I got one.
Go ahead.
If you think on the projects that are funded right now, would you be able to put them like in different buckets? This is the first question. And second question is, do you guys usually fund culture, let's say, or better, maybe we can say marketing or something like that? Do you have any projects?
Yes. Well, the first would be you have like infrastructure. You have projects that are infrastructure led. For example, the Zcash Foundation is mostly dedicated to public infrastructure of Zcash. Then Zottle has like the Zottle wallet, which is user facing and like end consumer, like end user. And then it also has tooling and wallet or full node infrastructure. Um, and then you have Shield Labs that they are doing like protocol, like for now experimental development because none of their developments are actually in production. And then you have community efforts and like educational or promotional projects, which are like Zcash Brazil, Zcash Espanol, Zcash Turkey, Zcash Nigeria, etc. And those are the, and then we have a few like marketing events that are mostly like really strategic conferences that for example CCG is funding to a small team to go to like if cans or they went to Triple Exotica, which is a like sex worker adult industry chapter of crypto and things like that. So the marketing efforts is not that the Zcash community grants will fund a lot of marketing, but they will probably tell you how to channel that because they do fund Zcash Brazil or ZecHub or Zcash Espanol, and they do have marketing efforts. So they can, if they don't fund the something, if the project is good but it's out of scope for what the Zcash community grants is actually wanting to prioritize, they usually say, oh, you should go through ZecHub and ask funds from them. ZZG is giving them funds, but they say, okay, we can't assess this grant properly, or is not our expertise or our domain. So you should go through that route first.
I think that's it.
All right.
That's a wrap.
Well, thank you so much. I promise I
Thanks God we didn't invite you to the conference because it was just 20 minutes. So we have proper.
I can speak really fast.
Nice. Thanks for coming.
No, it's been great. Even though I just bumped my head with a tree.
Yeah, you
Besides
scared me.
that incident, you know,
You scared me for a moment. Oh my God.
you know that tree, it has its bruises as well. You know.
Were you riding a bicycle?
No, I was just like looking at the GPS where we're walking.
This sofa is long. Nice. I come from game development too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And mobile.
mobile.
Yeah.
I worked
too.
at Game Loft.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, I was doing retroporting.
Retro.
Yes, which is like grabbing the good games for the good cell phones and putting them into
Older. Yeah. Oh wow.
taking levels
Optimizing.
out.
Optimizing.
Yeah, it was like
To the ball.
2008.
Yeah. I did some. Wow. Java mobile.
It was-
J2 and
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, it was awful.
Even the, like when I was learning to develop enterprise, it was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
XML and this with to create the interface.
Yeah,
But it
Android,
was fun.
yeah, Android was pretty awful back then. Now with Kotlin, it's different. And what did you do? Like, which games did you work on?
I did basically work in Unity when it
Oh,
was like
Unity.
Unity 4 or something like that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, 2011 I started. So yeah, it was really awful, but like now it's like AI is so good. Yeah. You do stuff, you do projects with AI and stuff now, or?
Yes, I use it, but the domain is so specific that it doesn't do that well then as in other domains.
Okay.
But yeah, we use it. Um, I use it like I use it for two things. One, to learn. When I don't know about something, I use it as a learning resource to uh, see like what's like an assistant profession, right? Just like asking stuff, and then I use it to do things that take time, but are low risk, like I don't know, working code or test suites or things like that that are not critical and they're not going to use some memory. Um, and since I write papers for my PhD, I use it for LaTeX. Yeah, those weird errors. It's pretty good. ChatGPT is really good. I like it. And I'm like the Zcash code contributors as well. Like they use it, but they don't care.